"What's your pleasure, gentlemen?" replied the peasant, with a purity of accent peculiar to the people of that district, and which might have put to shame the cultured denizens of the Sorbonne and the Rue des Universités. "We are looking for the house of Monsieur de Lawford," said D'Artagnan. The peasant took off his hat on hearing this revered name. "Gentlemen," he said, "the wood that I am carting is his. I cut it in his copse, and I am taking it to the chateau." D'Artagnan determined not to question this man. He did not wish to hear from another what he had himself said to Planchet. "The chateau," he said to himself. "What chateau? Ah, I understand. Athos is not a man to be thwarted. He, like Porthos, has obliged his peasantry to call him my lord, and to dignify his pettifogging place by the name of chateau. He had a heavy hand ere old Athos after drinking." D'Artagnan, after asking the man the right way, continued his route, agitated in spite of himself at the idea of seeing once more that singular man whom he had so truly loved, and who had contributed so much by advice and example to his education as a gentleman. He checked by degrees the speed of his horse and went on, his head drooping as if in deep thought. Soon, as the road turned, the Chateau de la Vallière appeared in view. Then, a quarter of a mile beyond, encircled in sycamores, was visible at the farther end of a group of trees, which spring had powdered with a snow of flowers. On beholding this house, D'Artagnan, calm as he was in general, felt an unusual disturbance within his heart, so powerful during the whole course of life are the recollections of youth. He proceeded, nevertheless, and came opposite to an iron gate, ornamented in the taste of the period. Through the gate was seen kitchen gardens, carefully attended to, a spacious courtyard, in which night several horses held by valets in various liveries, and a carriage drawn by two horses of the country. "We are mistaken," said D'Artagnan. "This cannot be the establishment of Athos. Good heavens, suppose he is dead, and that this property now belongs to some one who bears his name. Alight, Planchet, and inquire, for I confess that I have scarcely courage so to do." Planchet alighted. "Thou must add," said D'Artagnan, "that a gentleman who is passing by wishes to have the honor of paying his respects to the Comte de la Fère, and if thou art satisfied with what thou hearest, then mention my name." Planchet, leading his horse by the bridle, drew near to the gate and rang the bell, and immediately a servant man with white hair and of erect stature, notwithstanding his age, presented himself. "Does Monsieur le Comte de la Fère live here?" asked Planchet. "Yes, monsieur, it is here he lives," the servant replied to Planchet, who was not in livery. "A nobleman retired from service. Is he not?" "Yes, and who had a lackey named Grimaud," persisted Planchet, who had prudently considered that he couldn't have too much information. "Monsieur Grimaud is absent from the chateau for the time being," said the servitor, who, little used as he was to such inquiries, began to examine Planchet from head to foot. "Then," cried Planchet joyously, "I see well that it is the same Comte de la for whom we seek. Be good enough to open to me, for I wish to announce to Monsieur le Comte that my master, one of his friends, is here and wishes to greet him." "Why didn't you say so?" said the servitor, opening the gate. "But where is your master?" "He is following me." The servitor opened the gate and walked before Planchet, who made a sign to D'Artagnan. The latter, his heart palpitating more than ever, entered the courtyard without dismounting. Whilst Planchet was standing on the steps before the house he heard a voice say, "Well, where is this gentleman, and why do they not bring him here?" This voice, the sound of which reached D'Artagnan, reawakened in his heart a thousand sentiments, a thousand recollections that he had forgotten. He vaulted hastily from his horse, whilst Planchet, with a smile on his lips, advanced toward the master of the house. "But I know you, my lad," said Athos, appearing on the threshold. "Oh, yes, Monsieur le Comte, you know me and I know you. I am Planchet, whom you know well." But the honest servant could say no more, so much was he overcome by this unexpected interview. "What, Planchet, is Monsieur d'Artagnan here?" "Here I am, my friend, dear Athos," cried D'Artagnan, in a faltering voice and almost staggering from agitation. At these words a visible emotion was expressed on the beautiful countenance and calm features of Athos. He rushed toward D'Artagnan with eyes fixed upon him and clasped him in his arms. D'Artagnan, equally moved, pressed him also closely to him, whilst tears stood in his eyes. Athos then took him by the hand and led him into the drawing room, where there were several people. Every one arose.